episode 82. My name is Dave Hunt, and I'm joined by Michael
Dave,
Swick.
how is it going? I might be a little punchy this episode. We'll see how this goes. I have a 101-degree fever because I just got my second dose. Was really confident going into this dose because the first one did nothing to me, but I guess it's true what they say. One of them will kick your ass, and turns out for me it was the second.
Yeah. I don't think that the second one kicked my ass at all, but I was on vacation that week when I got it, and my wife said that I never got a fever. Obviously, I never got I don't think I got a fever, but she just said that for 2 days or 3 days, I was just very lethargic, unmotivated, not moving around or anything as much. I don't know if that was a combination of just decompressing from vacation as well as that.
Probably not the best thing to combine at the time,
right?
But yeah, no.
I had nothing to do and nowhere to be.
Yeah, so I'm here. Again, I might be a little punchy, so we'll see where things go.
So it'll be normal.
Yeah.
So. All right, we are Digital Days Gaming. We are a podcast that posts every Thursday on the podcast services of choice. If for some reason there's a service we're not on, it's probably because it doesn't matter, or we haven't heard of it yet. Probably because we haven't heard of it yet.
Likely.
So if there's a new app or something that you're using to listen to podcasts and you want us to be on there, tweet us, email us, and we can look into it. As long as it's accessible, we should be able to do it. And we also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming, every Tuesday. Tonight's a little later with my schedule than our normal Tuesday afternoon. So we don't really have a time on Tuesdays anymore. Tuesdays. It's 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So yeah, just follow us on Twitch and turn notifications on as you'll be notified when we go live, as well as just going to digitaldaysgaming.com. You can have links to everything that we do, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in the show notes. If this is your first time listening, please consider leaving us a review. If this is your 100th time listening, which was impossible because we haven't had 100 episodes yet, but maybe you listened to a couple twice. Yeah, and you haven't left a review, please consider leaving a review, please. As well as Twitch. You can subscribe to us on Twitch through Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime, or just for $5 because we have a Twitch affiliation. So if you wanted to do that, that'd be great. Everything else is linked in the show notes. And we're going to jump into the news. And stuff like this is why it's nice to wait until Tuesdays.
Yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere, but Thursday is going to be a big streaming day. So the day this podcast released. So all of our hot takes will be outdated by the time this comes out. But Sony announced that they are doing a state of play for Horizon Forbidden West. It's going to be 14 minutes of gameplay captured on the PS5. I'm hoping we get a little information on...
I think it's hilarious they have to say captured on PS5.
But this is supposed to come to
PS4.
PS4.
I forgot. Yeah. Okay. Yep, my bad. I forgot.
The new question will be, will they ever show the PS4 version of this game before release?
Cyberpunk 2.0.
But good. And so we're going to get 14 minutes of PS5 footage of the game. It's going to be at 5 p.m., I think Eastern time. I put the wrong time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. We were talking about a couple weeks ago of just what the fuck is Sony going to do for this holiday? I'm assuming if we're going to get a state of play in June or the end of May, it probably means this is going to squeak in before the end of the year because they can't have a holiday without a first party game. They can't. I don't think they could do that. They need something.
I disagree. I agree that they need something, but I don't think this game is going to be pre-Thanksgiving.
I think this is going to happen this holiday, and I think it's going to be the length of a Miles Morales.
If it's like that, I'll concede. You're saying this is 10 to 12 hour campaign? Okay. Okay. If that's the case, then yeah, I would have, I could be on board with that.
Maybe with a DLC
if this is a true full sequel, we're not seeing it. But I hope, I want them to bring something out, because that would, the biggest thing that would mean essentially you get, if it doesn't come out this year, which I don't know why I really feel this way, but I do. If it doesn't come out this year, you have Return on Ratchet. That's it.
Which is why I think that this game is going to get pushed out, just because they would have planned everything ahead of time, you would imagine, for okay, this is going to be our holiday game, which is probably why they teased God of War 2021, but that was just unrealistic. And looking back at the idea that they were going to release Horizon and God of War Holiday 2021 was just crazy to begin with. Mm-hmm. So one of those games must be closer than the other, and I'm guessing Horizon because we actually have gameplay
Yeah. Well, and I guess the only reason I would also feel that way is because it means that I feel like they're building the PS4 version of it, and then it just is going to look better and run better on PS5. I don't think they're building it for PS5 and downscaling it to run on PS4.
Yeah, that would probably lead to a bad PS4 game, and they don't want to do that.
That would, I guess, put it more towards maybe. I mean, the stuff you're talking about is kind of like is selling me a little bit more. But we'll see what they show in these 14 minutes of gameplay. Typically, they show gameplay closer to release. At least with Returnal and Ratchet, we used to get it like a month out, but at the same time, we used to know the release dates at that point in time. Do you think that Sony has anything planned for June? Because I think they'll be very quiet during E3. I think that we'll hear something. I personally think we'll hear something like mid-July.
So they are part, and it's going to be in the next story, but Sony is listed as a partner for Summer Game Fest, which begins the same week as E3 and ends, I think, in July. So I think you're right. We are going to get something from Sony, unless Jeff Keighley does what he did last year and he just slaps the Horizon thing on the Summer Games Fest page, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's their partnership. I think we'll get something else. It's probably going to be a focus on, like, Kena Bridge of Spirits. It'll be a focus of Deathloop.
I don't think they can do another state of play. And so I was having this conversation with on Twitter. I don't think that they can do another state of play and announce a new game, a new IP, a sequel. I don't think that state of play format supports that. I think it needs to be another similar style of, hey, we're doing an event of PS5, a look ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what I think.
Like, they can't call it state of play. And then to me, like, you can't put Kena in that. Like we know that that's coming.
No,
like, they
but
can give Kena
that's
its
what I'm
own
saying.
state
I think
of play.
we'll see like maybe a 2 video or like a double feature state of play that's Deathloop and Ghostwire. We'll see maybe a focused Kena Bridge of Spirits and like one other game from them. Just because I have a feeling Kena is one of those partnership games that Sony has confidence in, because.
Right, well, it's going to PC too, right?
Yeah, but it's getting exclusivity for console PlayStation, and everything that I've seen of that game looks like that could be like a quiet hit. And
oh yeah, I think it's gonna be very, very good. It looks super promising.
And I think that will probably be one of the PlayStation reveals like presentations that we'll get in Summer Game Fest. Because yeah, you're right. I don't see, unless the rumor is true, that Square Enix and PlayStation are going to announce another Final Fantasy exclusive. I don't see them doing like a traditional.
But I think even if you do that, you do PS5 a look ahead, and maybe you lead with this thing that you're going to talk about, this Team Ninja Square Enix Final Fantasy brawler,
Dark
or whatever.
Souls game.
Yeah, and then you throw the trailer for God of War 2 at the end, and you come with like a teaser for whatever Sony Santa maybe what. I don't even know, Last of Us remake. You throw a trailer in there of what they're going to do for it, and then you start like doing these things like it. But I think what we see in June and July needs to be, what we see in late June, early July needs to be what is coming in 2022. Like, not, I don't need to see. I mean, I want to see more Kena, but I don't need to see Kena, Deathloop, Ghostwire, Horizon anymore. Like, after the state of play. I think that's what
we're gonna get. Maybe some focused state of plays, because like the Horizon one's just 14 minutes, and Horizon's the only thing featured.
From the state of play format, I think that's what they're going to do. If they want to do a state, I want to see something in June or July of PS5 look ahead, like PlayStation's future
like
or something.
Last year. We got 2 showcases last year, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but I don't think that I hope that they don't call that a state of play, because there's a point in time where we need to see, whether it's virtually or like a mini press conference or whatever it is. Like, Herman Hulst needs to come on a stage in front of a camera, sit down, and talk about what what those 25 games
that are in development could be.
Right, like, and it needs, like, that's the part, like, Phil Spencer's in front of people. Like they're, even like Ubisoft, like they're even when they do their Ubisoft Forwards, you see hosts and you see people talking to you. Sony keeps hiding behind, and whoever it is does an amazing job, but it's the same voice person, and we never see anybody. It's B-roll and trailers.
I think what messes with me is just the Wired interviews where it's like Jim Ryan leaning next to like a car or like leaning against the wall, and it's just like him just doing photo shoots at his house and then just dropping like, oh yeah, Herman Hulst said we have 25 games in development, and it's just like,
right, Like put Scott Rhodey in front of a camera, put Herman in front of a camera, put like they were like we used to see all these people. I hate to keep saying it. We used to see Shu, we used to see Layden, we used to see Trenton, we used to see Corsi, Adam Boyes. Like we used to see all of these people, whether it was on stage, in videos, at the beginning of like. And I understand it's two different dynamics of marketing of what they're working on, and like it, whether we like it or not, like Jim Ryan's like pointing at his chart behind him, going, "I'm doing fine, thanks." Like, and it's fine, but I don't like the presentation approaches of these like kind of state of plays, like in terms of when they're one-offs like they are now, that where they did like a heavy focus on Returnal, and they did a heavy focus on Ratchet, now they're doing a heavy focus on Horizon. Those are great. They don't have the cadence that Nintendo Directs have, and they can't do it.
Yeah, I think part of the reason we're just going to get state of plays though is until they can do an in-person conference again, though they don't really seem like they have an interest in doing that. But I feel like if every other company goes back to that format, they might be more willing to do that, or even bring back state of play. Though I don't know if the current regime would want to do not a state of play, PSX. I don't know if they would want to do a PSX, but that's something I would hope happens like next year, and we start to get at least some personality on it, even if it's just what they used to do, where it's just like, hey, here's a stage, and each developer is going to come up and present his game. Like that would be something I would really want.
What the DC Dome thing that they did, like I felt like they did a great job. Like each person that was introducing, whether it was a movie, a comic book, a video game, like you saw the people, they were talking about it. They were talking over the gameplay, and it was like you knew, sometimes you recognize the voice. Like,
yeah,
I'm just not. I mean, they're 15, 20-minute things. They're fine. I just want to see. I'm greedy, I guess. I just want to see a little more.
The next thing that's coming out on Thursday is a Dying Light 2 stream on Twitch. 3 p.m. Eastern. It's so funny though, because like a couple months ago they like tweeted out like, we're not in development hell, and now they finally announced that they're going to do a stream, and then PlayStation is like, also we're doing a stream too. So that will either work in their favor or it won't, in terms of like, hey, people are already going to be on Twitch and this is going to be like an hour apart. Maybe it'll end up working out.
Also, we're not going to see PlayStation Plus at the State of Play, guys. They have already I don't know. If Sony keeps doing this, then doing these State of Plays like the day after their Plus reveal is supposed to be or something. But because I think, because Tuesday's the 1st, so we should be seeing PlayStation Plus games like this week.
Like there's
after this, like once the show goes live, they should be out.
There's been a leak, but I don't know how credible the leak is in terms of what it is. And if the leak is accurate, I'm not really looking too forward to the PlayStation Plus for June. But so Dying Light 2 stream will happen on Twitch on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to it. Dying Light is one of those games I saw multiple E3s, and really hope they can put their game through.
It just has to come out. Like, please date it. Please, even if you date it for January 2022, just put a damn date on it.
Yeah, they at this point, especially they're doing this ahead of E3, so they're just... You would think they would want to just join E3 in terms of just filling that presentation stuff, but I guess you don't really have to do that to be successful. All right, in other like news and rumors for E3 and Summer Game Fest, as mentioned before, there's a report going around that Square Enix and PlayStation have a Final Fantasy like Dark Souls type game coming out exclusively for PS5 from Team Ninja. That could be interesting in terms of that team working on a Final Fantasy game. I don't know exactly if I'm like super into the idea of like a Team Ninja Final Fantasy game, but people really like Team Ninja stuff, like Ninja Gaiden and all that stuff, so they definitely could do a combat game. I do like the idea that Square's like experimenting with the Final Fantasy franchise, so this could work out really well for them.
I just hope it's not like what was Metal Gear. What was that one? The new Metal Gear. Yeah, Metal Gear Revengeance, like that.
Wait, there was Revengeance, which was the brawler on the 360, and then there was the zombie Metal Gear Solid 5 game.
I thought there was a new Metal Gear like character that like had like carried a sword. I thought.
Yeah, that's Revengeance. That's on a 360. Okay. Yeah. Raiden. He was always a character in the game, but they gave him his own game.
Yeah. I don't think that went over really well with Metal Gear.
So it was a competent game, but I don't think it had the story that people...
Right. It was like, oh, this is a great game. It's not a Metal Gear game. It's a great game, but it's not a Metal Gear game. Yeah,
exactly. So it was one of those ones that it just didn't hit as well as people were expecting. Other rumors is Microsoft is going to host a joint press conference with Bethesda and Xbox, which just makes sense.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
No, for real?
It kind of makes...
So that thing's going to be like 3 hours long now instead of 2 hour and
Well, that was
hour
like
and a half
the
conferences?
question is, because Bethesda has held their own press conferences for the last like 5-6 years, they would have to do this. And I think it would make sense if they separate them a little, just for the fact that 2 of Bethesda's next games are PlayStation 5 exclusive, and
Welcome to the Xbox Game Press Conference. First up, PlayStation exclusive.
Exactly. And it's one of those instances where Microsoft is probably, as much as they would want to just like let those games go out and die, their partnership is too new with Bethesda, so they're not going to want to make the people at Bethesda feel like they're just throwing game in the trash. So
Right.
Microsoft is probably going to do a really good job of letting Bethesda advertise and support these games that, will a joint press conference makes sense. I just want to know, like, will they actually be separate, or will it be like, okay, and now here's Pete Hines for the next hour, and will that increase or tank numbers in terms of, like...
You put Phil Spencer on the stage for 45 minutes. You put Hines on the stage for 45 minutes. You put Spencer on the stage for 45 minutes. You put Hines on the stage for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and they totally could do that, pretty much. I'm disinterested because there's a lot of things Bethesda has in the chamber to announce that isn't, the games that we already know. And it's going to be fascinating.
Like, you have to think that they're doing another, I can't think of the game right now, the zombie shooter game. Why can't the series that with they did the sisters co-op? There's like 3 of them now. It's like the Russian, like, against the Nazis.
Wolfenstein? Okay,
that. Sorry, like they're probably more Wolfenstein
you
coming,
imagine,
right?
Though that studio, I believe, is working on the Indiana Jones game. So will we see anything for the Indiana Jones game? Probably not, based on the teaser.
No, maybe a trailer, or maybe they'll title it like Indiana Jones
push out
something.
Harrison Ford to be like, hey, he's going to voice Indy, or push out Shia LaBeouf and be like, he's going to voice Indy.
I think if you have celebrity voice actors or celebrities in your game right now, you probably need to keep them hidden for a little while because you don't want a Keanu thing all over again.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford is pretty hilarious when he has to do that sort of thing. He's kind of a I don't give a shit, I'm an old guy sort of mentality. So that would be a beautiful thing to see him talking about a video game and being like, I don't fucking care. They paid me. And then the last thing is, like, Sony's a partner on Summer Game Fest, so we already talked about that. I'm getting excited for E3, though registering as media has been kind of a pain in the ass because their system's broken. And it sounds like they don't even know what they're doing in terms of, like, hey, so you'll get access to this app. Okay. And that's basically it. So we'll see what our E3 coverage...
I just don't understand why they even changed the system. Like, we used to just get approved, and our email address used to be approved, and then people could send an email to everybody that was approved for E3. And then we could respond with those emails. Like, we get something like, hey, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, well, I don't really need to check out your energy drink, but hey, I want to check out this game.
Yeah, but it sounds like, based on Twitter for developers and publishers and stuff, it's kind of chaos in terms of what this E3 is even going to be. But I'm just excited E3's coming back in some capacity. And
yeah, it'll be curious to see what actually gets announced and what gets shown. I think that whether, the fickleness of the business is like these companies plan these times around, they build around E3, just like retailers build around Christmas, and they hold stuff and they wait until this time when people know, hey, it's June, I need to pay attention to what's going on in the video game world. Like, they're almost like just brainwashed that way of like, this is
especially like hardware companies. We're so used to hardware companies, their bread and butter are CES and E3, because that's the only time they can get people to go and physically test their new devices and their pitches. And obviously we have no idea how they're going to handle stuff. Video game companies, is it going to be like how Ubisoft handled stuff, a couple things we did with them last year, or they're just going to have Parsec things running that we can play games? Media is
is the app gonna be like, here, open a trailer and check out a presentation, and that's our impressions kind of thing? Like, who knows?
But at least in terms of coverage we're planning to do, we'll probably do what we did last year. If there's a big enough press conference, we'll watch it and then do a special podcast for it. If Microsoft does do one, we'll watch that. If Nintendo does one, we'll do that as well. Because Nintendo didn't do one at all last year.
Right. We did the thing for Microsoft's event. We did the thing for Sony's future,
Yeah,
like
and then
PlayStation
Ubisoft,
5, the future of
they
gaming.
did too, and
Yeah, Ubisoft Forward, yeah.
EA Play, we did one, even though EA Play was just kind of like whatever. But EA might have some more things.
They might have some pretty cool stuff, but their stuff is EA's is in like July now.
It is,
like,
it's like middle of July or something like that.
So we'll definitely have different coverage going on. So there might be some late night streams from us during that week and extra episodes going up. So look forward to that. The last big news story is Time Splitters is coming back. So Deep Silver announced that they're bringing back the franchise. And the interesting thing for me is they are actually bringing the founders of the studio that used to make it, Free Radical, back to form a new studio and work on Time Splitters. For those that don't know, Time Splitters is a first-person shooter franchise. The last entry was 2005. Their studio worked on Haze, Crisis, like pretty much every Crisis game, either head of studio or support. And then Warface was the last game they worked on before shutting down. But I'm not the biggest Time Splitters fan, but I like the idea that Deep Silver could have just put anybody on this, kind of like how THQ Nordic handles things. But no, they're like, hey, let's get some of the people from the original studio. Let's give them money, and let's see what they want to do with the franchise. So Time Splitters is coming back, though I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. And Deep Silver tends to take their time with all of their properties. Like, Volition hasn't produced anything in a really long time. And, I mean, Techland, I think, is Deep Silver with Dying Light. That's been forever in development, so this could be a while before we see this. Any thoughts on this or experience with Time Splitters?
For some reason, I'd have to look at some stuff and see what Time Splitters is. The name's ringing a bell, but I can't picture like the game, so I don't want to.
Yeah. But the idea that they're bringing the original people back.
And I think it's great anytime if you're trying to revive a franchise. I think it's great to have its origins there. Like, and I think that's fascinating. Even if they don't have like a huge thing, but hey, you can't do that with the gun. Like, don't.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Like, that's always good, even at consulting wise and stuff like that.
Just to have the people. Obviously, they're not going to bring the entire team back, but bringing at least heads of studios back together could lead to at least something promising. Just kind of like how Darksiders Genesis was like the original people on the team. They couldn't do a full Darksiders game, but they at least put together something that felt like Darksiders sort of experience. That's how I kind of see this. Like, I don't know if this is going to be like a full Time Splitters thing, but at least they'll have the core idea and team behind it.
Yeah, which is great. Which is hopefully fits the niche that those fans have been hoping for. That's all you can ask.
And then the last bit, quick news, Days Gone, released on PC. It's a really good PC port, better than Horizon, at least at launch. Horizon got there eventually. It topped the Steam charts for a couple days, though it's suggested that it sold half as well as Horizon, which isn't too surprising. I could see people being pretty reluctant based on how Horizon released, that people would be like, okay, hold on, I'm not going to really touch Days Gone.
Right, and I think Alloy is a much more marketable figure than Days Gone. Anybody in Days Gone.
Than Deacon St. John.
Aloy, sorry, don't freak out at me. Aloy.
But interesting to see that it didn't sell as much, but it now has a new audience. It's not going to be enough to bring the franchise back, but at least it shows that Sony took this port serious, that they were able to release it.
Yeah, like Field of View, like kudos, like they did a great job.
Yeah.
Like everything, like the little trailer they released like the week or two before it came out, because it came out like May 18th, like last week I believe. And then like leading up to it, they did a bunch of cool stuff with it. So even people that I own it like through the PS Plus collection or even own it on disc. But then I was like thinking to myself, like I started it and I started like, do I want to play it on my PC? Like I don't need to buy it again. But I mean, it was still like kind of like rattling around in my head, like. And it doesn't have did it get any kind of PS5 upgrade?
No, they did patch it to, I think, unlock the frame rate.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. It was like just a quick patch, just unlock it from 30. And it's one of those games that I've been interested to kind of go back to, because I finished the main story, but I still had a bunch of stuff that I was interested in doing. So I guess I could load that save, pull it from the cloud, and then go again.
No, like I said, I've heard like even like people like you, like everybody says it's like really good, but like they still say it takes like 15 to 18 hours to get going, and I'm like, I don't know if I had the intentions to be able to do that. It definitely
suffered as one of those games that was way longer than it should have been or needed to be.
but it was still a competent. And I think it would have been probably reviewed better if it was a tighter game, because I don't think anyone went into Days Gone expecting a 40-hour game, and that's what they ended up getting.
Especially and again, especially when Sony, particularly with their marketing of these third-person games, are 15 to 20 hour campaigns, and then this was double that.
Yeah, it was double that. So. And then the last bit, The Last of Us Part 2 got a 60 frames per second patch. That's another thing.
Fantastic, but I'm not playing again.
It's funny, I was going for the platinum before I stopped when the game first came out, and I'm halfway through. I'm basically at the point where you get to play as Abby. You completely just play Abby for the rest of the game. Kind of tempted to just download it and then just look at it in 60 frames. I've been spending a lot of time watching Digital Foundry videos. I saw their Days Gone breakdown, and then I saw their breakdown of this. I am tempted, but that game was such an emotional drain that I don't know if I want to do that, especially coming out of the pandemic.
I started right when we finished it, we did our spoiler cast, even the day that I finished it, we were recording later that night, and I'm like, all right, let me because I think it does the chapter select thing, and it shows you what you missed in each section, or not where it is, but that you didn't you missed a couple of these things. I feel there was, and I was looking at a couple of those chapters, I'm like, and then I went back and started playing some stuff, and I ran into an encounter where there was clickers or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, my second
I don't want to turn this corner because I know that big ass thing is there.
Yeah, my second playthrough, because it has New Game Plus, was so much easier just because I leveled up Ellie relatively fast. I'm only 2 chapters with Ellie, or 2 sections, or now Ellie with Abby, and she's almost leveled up. And I put it on easy, and then turned on detective mode so I can get all the collectibles. But even then, there's still aspects of the game where the game's just you're going to do this horrible thing, and you have to do it. And it's just shit. I don't know if I could deal with that.
But if you haven't played it yet, it's and you have a PS5, 100% play it, and play it at 60 frames and love the hell out of it.
And it's gone on sale enough now that it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a playthrough. And then check out our spoiler cast where we spend almost 3 hours going over everything about that game. And it could have been longer. Dave, 2 hours in, gave me a look we need to go. We need to hurry.
I think I still remember that. I'm like, dude, we're still on day 1.
Yeah, we didn't even get
Abby,
to
with Ellie.
We're 90 minutes in. That's it for news. Again, light news week, but E3 is now 2 weeks away, so next week will probably be all the leaks that are happening as E3 doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
And
some document's gonna end up in this app, really. No, not yet.
Yeah, we'll find something. But that is it for the news.
All right, so nothing delayed again. He actually deleted it off the agenda. Yay.
Not until more games get announced at E3.
Right. We'll get into what we're playing and watching, but I also wanted to ask Michael, what did you think of the picture we saw of the Uncharted movie?
I already didn't like the idea that Mark Wahlberg's Sully, because I don't like Mark Wahlberg as an actor. He's either confused or...
And he doesn't look any different than Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. He looks like Tom Holland's older brother. If you told me he was Sam, I would be perfect.
I hope that's early on in the movie or something like that, because let's be honest, I'm sorry, if you're playing Nathan Drake, you got to be a little dirtier than that.
Yeah, especially Nate is living on the streets when he meets Sully. So I don't know. I'm fine with Tom Holland. He's a decent enough actor.
When is this coming out?
I think he got delayed to January or February, some shit like that. I don't know. I lost track of when this is coming out.
Okay.
Though it worries me because Tom Holland came out 2 months ago and he was like, "Oh, I didn't like the way I acted in that movie," and it's just oh boy. Shit.
This ends up straight to Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Sony did sign that deal with Netflix, so it'll probably come relatively fast. It looks fine from that one image that we saw. I'm upset that Mark Wahlberg's Sully. I'm upset that he couldn't even bother to grow a mustache. Couldn't throw a little gray in his hair. He is doing the...
He better have a cigar.
Yeah, he's doing that befuddled look that Mark Wahlberg just permanently has on his face. The happening face. So I don't know. I'm going to watch that movie and then just be angry every time Mark Wahlberg talks. I'm not a fan of Mark Wahlberg.
All right. So what we're planning on watching. So last week I talked about the kind of the pluses and minuses to what was going on in Destiny, where I wasn't a huge fan of the activity. but I liked the guns you got from the activity, and I was worried about Vault of Glass, the raid that they were bringing back. They did a phenomenal job with that raid. Like, the small changes they made to bring it up to D2 standards for the mechanics were subtle enough that made you change how you played. But going back into there and doing that stuff, like, it felt like it used to. It's such a cool raid. The encounters are so interesting, and like I've said before, like, the loot that's coming out of there is fantastic. The possibility of getting great weapons with different roles on them and catering to what you want. I had no plans of going in on the first day and doing the raid with the intrinsic handicap modifier that they put on that puts you like 20 points or 25 points below the raid level, like purposely kicks your ass for the first 24 hours. But a couple friends of mine on Xbox were, like, they had somebody bail. So late Saturday night, like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I got on with them. And we'd already kind of like seen the changes that were going on because the raid went live earlier Saturday afternoon. And I ended up staying up till like 4 a.m. with these guys, like trying to work through and get the raid. And we got pretty far, farther than I've gotten in a long time. And then Sunday afternoon, after the modifier was removed, we went back and we cleared it. And like, this is the first raid I've cleared within the first 48 hours of it coming out since the original raid of D2. So there's definitely like some rewards. Like, there's a jacket that I think looks really cool, but I don't know if it's worth $150. But it's a really nice looking jacket. So we'll see. But it was just fun to play it again and to hang out with their friends. And our clan seems to have 6, 7, 8, 9 people that are wanting to go in there. Some people have never seen this raid before that are active players in our clan, and teaching them that. And they all got after an hour of struggling at an encounter, I snapped for like 3 seconds, and then they did the encounter. And it was like, stop messing up. Like, and they just did it after that. And they're like, you should have yelled at us like an hour ago. And I was like, so those like doing those days are back. It's something I think I could totally like stream and just hang out with people watching and help people. Like, I'm getting those helping vibes again, and it's just so much fun. And the raid, like, there's a currency you can earn in this raid that you can use to get more weapons. Like the loot loop that Destiny is trying to pull off, and they've been trying to pull it off for like 7 years. They're really close. Like, they're really, really close, and I just hope that they don't do something this summer just to F it up.
Yeah.
Like, this delay of the next expansion could be... It's the best thing for the game, but it could also be detrimental to the game because they almost have to add another season or continue to stretch these seasons out, and their seasons already start to get bland in the second half of the season. I can't imagine if you take a 3-month season that gets bland after 6 or 8 weeks, and then you try to make it a 4 or 5 month season that gets bland after 6 or 8 weeks. Like, that could be really bad. So, but the cool part about Vault of Glass, like I've said before, like, we've been talking to other people like that have said, hey, is it too late? Vault of Glass is free. Like, you don't have to own Beyond Light. You don't have to own the current season. It's there. And I'll be honest with you, like, grinding up to power level to go into the vault is a little bit of a challenge if you're a free to play player, because the roadblocks are a little more hindering. But again, spending $10 purchasing a season, still early enough in the season if you wanted to do it, it gets you access to more powerful rewards through some other things. And you can kind of progress your way up, and we can try to check it out. I half jokingly, wrote this on the document of, hi, my name is Dave, and I'm addicted to Destiny again. So, I had full intentions of starting up Mass Effect on Sunday, and I didn't. So I still need to do that and kind of like work through that and force myself through that. Not force myself, but force myself to play that because I'm hoping that I enjoy it. Is what I mean. And I'm at the point now, like, I've been thinking about it this week. Like, I'm just gonna play what I want to play. Like, if I want to play Destiny, like, I'm gonna play Destiny. If I want to play Mass Effect, I'll play Mass Effect. I want to play Return, I'll play Returnal. I don't care. Like, I want to play video games and I want to have fun. And if that means, like, for 3 or 4 weeks it's a lot of Destiny, I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. And I'm having a blast. And I had a lot of fun this week hanging out with some of the Xbox guys of a former coworker of mine and his group, and I had a whole bunch of fun playing with the DDG clan, like I do on a regular basis as much as I can. Obviously, they were giving me a lot of crap because I was on Xbox for like 4 days in a row. But at the end of this season, it doesn't matter anymore because there's going to be crossplay and everybody can play with everybody. Yeah. So and then watching, by the way, Mighty Ducks, probably the best episode they've had.
And that was at the first half finale or whatever.
No, I don't know if it's coming back next week or not, but it's like we're on episode like 7 or 8. And I know you're not the biggest John Stamos fan, but I'm enjoying Big Shot.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm almost like to the point where I want to watch Big Shot before then. But you also aren't as big of a basketball fan as I am, or
No,
as,
I'm a big
you know,
basketball
as,
fan. I'm just not a big garbage show fan, or not garbage show.
You haven't even watched it, so you don't know if it's garbage
John
or not.
Stamos is starring in it, so that immediately puts the quality bar low.
This is because Michael doesn't have kids, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna play that you don't understand certain aspects of family dynamics.
Yeah.
Go watch Buffy for the 400th time.
I might actually. It's a really good show.
All right, that's it for me.
For me, it's been 2 games. The first one is Knockout City, which currently is on Switch, PS4, and Xbox. It's on Game Pass, and there is also 10-day trials on the other platforms. And it's cross-play, cross-progression, everything that you would want from that. This is a competitive dodgeball game. The twist, though, is kind of takes place on like rooftops and different like arenas to where there's hazards going on, and there is a bunch of stuff you could do. Like you can roll your character into a ball and then have a teammate throw you. There are special dodgeballs that will lock people in cages. There are dodgeballs that are actually multi-ball, so if you get that one, you have multiple balls you can throw. And it just has a really light and fun gameplay loop that I'm really enjoying. I've only really dabbled in the basic mode, the 3v3 mode, but I'm enjoying it. Like, basically it's 3v3, first team to 10 knockouts wins. A knockout is basically if an opponent gets hit twice with the ball. And matches are really fast. We're talking like maybe 5-10 minute matches, because it's crossplay and they're doing free trials and it's on Game Pass. There's no issues finding games right now. It's just a really fun game. I really like the character creator. It's pretty fluid in terms of like, the different parts to the character can be mixed and matched regardless of like gender or like hairstyles.
Are you getting any kind of like Rocket League vibes from it? Like in terms of like how many people can play?
I don't know if it's gonna hit Rocket League level. This seems like this would probably one of those things that like it would be lucky if it could hit like Fall Guys level, where it's like a game of the summer.
Does it feel like it should be free to... I want to play it, and I haven't played it obviously because I was playing too much Destiny last week. Does it have a free to play feel to it?
You can buy so many customization stuff for your custom, or for your character, your custom character.
But you're saying it's fun.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of free-to-play games that are, like, okay, and they're really grindy, and then there's games that are fun and really grindy.
Yeah, this one doesn't feel grindy because all you're getting is cosmetics. They're starting Tuesday, or starting today, actually, is going to be Season 1, so I'm interested to see how the seasons break out for that game, to see if it has, like, a tail. They have a bunch of, like, basically they have, like, quests or cards that they give you, where it's, like, get 100 KOs,
Nice.
catch the ball 20
you get
times.
You get a bunch of currency points.
Yeah, you get currency points for accomplishing that, and then that stuff rotates in and out.
So they're not trying to like reinvent the wheel in terms of what they're doing here. Okay, awesome. What platforms have you played
on? I'm just playing it on Xbox, and I also downloaded it on PS5. It's the first time I had to interact with my EA account, because I never attached my EA account to my Xbox before.
Oh boy!
Holy shit! Because like my EA account has been linked to my PlayStation account, my PSN account, since.
You just did it like years ago and you just forgot about it.
I never had to do anything with it, so I had to spend like 10 minutes resetting the password to hook it up to the Xbox. But cross-progression is really nice, just because some of my friends are on PlayStation. It's just easier to just use the PlayStation's voice chat instead of trying to use the in-game chat, which it does have.
Discord.
Yeah,
Discord.
That is also an option, but it's also easier just to be like, all right, add me on the EA friend list.
Yeah.
And
so real quick, you know what I found out? Like, I don't mean to cut you off, but so I know that I've been talking about these Turtle Beach Gen 2 700s.
Yeah, I bought a pair
like
too.
I have them
you
for
can
X.
do dual.
Yeah, so you can connect these to your phone and your PlayStation.
Yeah, I bought Sarah a headset.
All you
like
people,
that.
like these headphones, guys. Like I want to do a video on this or stream on this. These Turtle Beach Gen 2 700s for like $150. the versatility that these headphones have, the comfort level these headphones have is top tier. Like, I don't think you can get a better set of headphones for $150.
Yeah, like I got them on sale like a couple weeks ago just because Sarah playing Final Fantasy 14, it was just easier for her to use Discord with her phone. So we picked up that headset for like $100 because they were on sale, and it was really worth getting.
If you can get it for $100, like jump on it. Like especially if you're gonna play any, like, crossplay is not going anywhere. So like we're setting up a bunch of stuff in Discord for our Destiny Discord. We're setting a bunch of stuff up on our personal or in the DDG Discord. Like, using it with your phone is going to be so much easier.
And that's what the new Xbox headset advertises, is being able to use Discord on your phone and then use it with PC and Xbox. Definitely recommend the Gen 2. But yeah, I'm enjoying Knockout City. Ended up playing way more than I thought I was going to play of it.
That's
the
awesome.
only thing I'm worried about is once these 10-day trials are over, will I...
What's the population going to look like?
What is the game going to look like when people have to pay, I think it's like $20 for when the game... when you can buy the game. I want to know what the community looks like after that, but it being on Game Pass means that at least the Xbox community should be pretty, like, live.
Yeah, Game Pass PC as well,
I believe
right?
so, because it's part of EA Play, and they finally combined it.
Yeah.
And so I'm enjoying Knockout City. Recommended, especially why the 10-day trial is happening right now, because I don't think it's just a generic 10-day trial as soon as you download the game. I think it's like the next 10 days you can get it.
Oh, nice. So if you haven't played the first 3 days, you still get 10 days.
I think I have to look into that, but even if it isn't, play it now in case it...
Even playing it for a day or two, like, just see if you like it. It's like,
and it's not a big download.
Almost,
it doesn't take up too much space.
Right. It's almost similar. Outriders did the demo thing. Knockout City's doing the demo thing. It's free. You play the whole game. If you buy it, you get to pick up right where you were. Like, it's great.
Yeah, so having fun with that. We did get a review copy for Biomutant. It's something Dave was interested in, and I was just like, let me just like dabble in it. Biomutant is a RPG.
We got it late. I had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
Not late. We got it right before release date, which is great. Thank you to
we got it like Monday
and the PR
afternoon,
company.
Monday evening, and Dave was working.
Thank you to the PR company that sent it to us. Not enough time to hit embargo reviews. I would have loved to have done early coverage on it, but I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, so we got it like yesterday afternoon, evening. So I've only put in like 2 or 3 hours into it, which always seems to be my standard of like I will sit down and play a game for 2 to 3 hours and then hope I have more time for it.
Right.
I really am enjoying like the character design. It seems like it takes place like after humans have like basically fucked up the earth and animals are left.
Yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic
the animals have mutated and are more they have more human-like characteristics, and they're basically fighting for survival on what is I assume to be Earth, I'm guessing. But it has a really cool art style. Like, I really love playing the main character, which is like a raccoon looking character. They do a really cool thing of the character customization is kind of like their form of like how evolution would work. Like, if you wanted a stronger character, your character is going to look more buff. If you wanted an intelligent character or agile character, it's going to be skinnier, and there's basically just like a part in a circle that you move it on to kind of see where your character is going to be at. I went for more cute character than like strong, so my character is like very fast and agile. It has a cool look. There's different classes.
Yeah. It sounds like there's like it sounds like there's classes in it. And I've been purposely like skimming like coverage of the game, like trailers and stuff, and the gameplay style. I'm like, okay, that's piqued my interest enough. And then like reviews hit like Monday morning, and I was seeing a lot of people like kind of reviewing it. And then as soon as you said that we got codes for it, like I stopped looking at like even skimming reviews, because I'm like, I don't want to get like warped.
Yeah.
So
the game,
I don't want to be accused of being like pandering or being like paid off.
It's one of those games that, based on what I've seen people like say about the game, don't expect like a huge sprawling RPG. This was made by a very like not a, it
was like 20 people.
It's made by a small studio.
Yeah.
Which is why they had issues with like having the PS5 version run on 60 frames 4K. They're working on it like an actual PS5 Series X version.
Yeah, it's 1080p 60 frames from a studio that's not a AAA studio. Like, it's good enough.
And when I say like they're a small studio, so don't expect like a crazy scale. It is a solid RPG with
action mechanics.
Having a handful of games that are 7.5 and 8s is a great thing than having 1 or 2 games that are 9.5.
Exactly. And so far in the early couple hours, the game has plenty of personality. Your character doesn't speak.
Yeah.
So there's like a cheeky narrator that's like telling you the story and telling you what the character's thinking. I really like that aspect. I hope
when they go, well said, sir. Well said. Like, oh, he didn't say anything.
And
like,
I really like that aspect, and I hope they keep that going throughout the whole game. Though I know if they do keep that up the whole game, that probably tells you like the size and scope of the game, because it can't get too crazy big if it has to rely on that narrator telling the story. But the actual gameplay mechanics are pretty fun. Again, really simple. It kind of just goes on button combos for different melee attacks, which is nice, and you level up your character and you get different button combos that you can use.
That's what I want. I just want a mindless, I'm going to just F stuff up so bad right now.
Like at a certain point I unlocked a button combo that's like circle, square, R2, and then that's like 2 chops with your sword, and then you bust out a big gun, like shotgun blast.
I used to have so much fun in like Guacamelee, getting like 150 or 250 hit combos just on everything and just going just nuts.
Yeah, like I'm hoping there's more arenas, because so far, for the most part, I'm only been fighting at the max like 8 characters in like a little arena that it gets to. So I'm hoping we get more of that. But even if we don't, as long as the narration stuff and the humor still is there, and they tell you more of the world, because as soon as you get out of like the game starts out in like a fallout shelter, and then you get yourself out of it, and then you see like the big open world, and then just seeing like all this vegetation, forest, and then power lines going through the forest, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is this world. This is nature took over, and the animals became mutants. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'll continue to play it. I don't think it's terribly long, so I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, a couple things I skimmed out of on Twitter, like if you start beelining the story, it's like 15
which I'm
hours.
perfectly fine with. I don't really...
Yeah.
We talked about Days Gone being too long, and same could be said for The Last of Us. So I'm fine with like a 15-hour game. And I still have the Mass Effect trilogy that I need to get through, which is going to be hundreds of hours. But that is it for playing. Watching, the only thing I watched is Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder Batista zombie movie. That was too long.
Is that the Netflix
Yeah, it's a Netflix thing. It's like...
Yeah, I've heard a couple people complain about that.
It's 2.5 hours long, and there's only like an hour section that's actually good.
That seems like a movie that I would think I would want to watch, and I think I'd fall asleep watching it.
Yeah, to me, it took like an hour to get good, and then it was good for an hour, and then there's like 40 minutes of it just like you just checking the time of just like, shit, what the fuck? Like, is this still going?
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's it for playing and watching though.
All right, cool. So questions and comments using hashtag #AskDigitalDays. You can send us those to the Facebook group, Twitter, emails, podcast@digitaldaysgaming.com. Everything's in the show notes if you want to contact us. Robert Cartwright sends, what is your favorite? Is that how they spell favorite in Europe?
You.
Okay. Soft drink beverage. That's redundant also, right? Soft drink beverage.
No, that's
drink beverage.
Soft drink is a type of beverage. Yeah, it's not sophisticated.
Sorry. His is root beer, which is sadly apparently hard to find in the UK. So I think I know yours,
Right.
Michael. Don't you like? It's Coke,
Coca-Cola,
right?
like only Coke. I can't drink Pepsi. I can't drink RC. RC is trash. Pepsi is just flat Coke.
Do you have Faygo there?
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of the Insane Clown Posse, so I don't drink Faygo. But I know you and Angela are big fans of ICP because you guys are from Detroit.
I'm not a fan of them. I'm just saying that they're from here. I think they actually went to my high school.
Yeah, so you're a big fan of them. You guys are down with the clowns.
Yeah, I like Faygo, but that doesn't make me automatically an ICP
and
fan.
Magnets
Okay,
blow
whatever.
your mind.
So, mine is Mountain Dew right now, and I've actually found a Mountain Dew Zero that I can drink, and it's no calories. Doesn't make it any better, like, because it's still pop or soda or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm aware of that, but it's no calories. So, I've also given up soda, pop, whatever you want to call it, for multiple months at a time, and never lost enough weight or never lost any weight. So there's like no point for that. So mine is Mountain Dew, and Michael's been around for, unfortunately for me, 2 kidney stone bats because I drink too much Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I've been with you at E3s where you're just like, I'm not going to drink Coke, and then like second day of E3, you're just like, fuck it, I need a Coke. Like, I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, it's you're tired, and then it's all that's like in front of you when you're there. So even like it's like there's only so much water that somebody can consume, I feel like, without something else to be a flavor palette.
All I drink at E3 is water, Coke, and then when I go to a Polish developer, a Polish beer, which
yeah. So and then gaming related, he says soundtracks. Can you recall a game where the soundtrack made the game for you? I personally love Fallout 76 music. Compared to the crazy world you play in, it's a total contrast, but it works. Like I've said, like I've told stories before, music doesn't seem to have as big of an impact on me as it does on other people. I wish it did. But I do tend to notice music more crescendoing when a certain event's are about to happen in a game. Like that is definitely something that gets me interested, or knowing like when you're coming near an encounter, a boss fight, or like you're getting through a boss fight and the music amplifies because you're down to like the last half of the boss's health or the last third, or you're getting ready to do something. I definitely love composers and game developers that are able to do a great job of using music to feed the moments in the games. Those I do notice. There's not anything in particular that sticks out to me that I can right off the top of my head. Again, everybody's going to roll their eyes in the back of their head. I feel like Destiny's composers and composers and music does a fantastic job based on where you are and what you're doing. And their music soundtracks have won awards before, so I'm not alone in that. So, but that's the one that I tend to notice more often than others, is when it happens in like Destiny. Last of Us did a very good job with it as well. Uncharted in general, Naughty Dog has done a fantastic job with it. The Last of Us specifically
is like in that unnerving way. Like I bought the soundtracks; they're behind me. I don't know if you can see them, but like I put that on the record, and Sarah was like, "Can you please turn that off? Because I'm getting like anxiety." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting anxiety listening to the soundtrack too, because that's how good it is."
I definitely can like name games based on sounds, like soundtracks and stuff like that, like the Final Fantasy tunes and the Zelda tunes and the Mario stuff. Obviously, like the big core things that like everybody could probably do, and I could probably do better than most people. But I am not a type of person that would like Michael is, and I wish I could be to this extent. But he'll just put a soundtrack on and listen to it, and I can't do that. Like I can't. I've done it with movie soundtracks, like when I was a kid, but not as I just need to figure out a better way to get music into my routine. So.
For me, a recent game that I got the vinyl record of, that the vinyl record might be kind of a little messed up because I'm having issues with playback. Paradise Killer is a recent game from last year. The soundtrack makes that game for me because it sets the mood and the vibe for that entire game, and the gameplay's kind of lacking. But it's one of those games that I could just listen to that soundtrack. And also, if I just want to load that game up just to hear some of the tracks and walk in the world is very nice. Any That Game Company game, Journey, Flower, Flow, those games I feel like... You know how there's like some games, like you can play Destiny on mute and be fine. I can play some games on mute and be fine. That game...
I don't want to play Destiny on mute, but I could.
If one of your kids was talking to you, you could mute the game and then have a conversation with them and not hear the game. That company games, the music is so vital, especially for like Journey and Flower. Like they like react to what's going on in the actual game, especially in Flower. Like the music can change just a little bit based on what exactly you're doing. So that game company games soundtracks are super, super vital. Obviously, like, he mentioned Fallout 76, which I think uses like some licensed stuff, but like the Tony Hawk games, I feel like the Tony Hawk games would not be what they are without the soundtracks that those games have. But if we're talking about like more traditional scores, like the Naughty Dog games, I think Spider-Man is so good of the music from Sweeney.
Miles was really good.
Miles one.
Yeah, well, Miles was really good too. Yeah, unless you say that. Like it again, somebody almost has to like trigger it in my head for me to remember it. It's not something that I can just pull up on demand.
But like every time you would swing in that game, and they would build up that music as you're swinging, it's so good. Like the Insomniac has done a really good job with the Spider-Man games of having like iconic soundtracks.
Nice. So main Terry, can you please describe your wall art in your gaming/creative spaces? What are your inspirations, and what would you like to add to your collections to complete the look you want for your space? I don't really have a theme to it. Obviously, you can see behind me, like, I love baseball. I love the Tigers. I love Ken Griffey Jr. He's one of my favorite players. I've got a lot of Destiny stuff. I got a lot of Division stuff. And then I've got a lot of boxes of stuff that companies have sent me, headphones. I don't necessarily want to always, like, show the boxes and stuff, but I also feel like it's something on a shelf is better than nothing on a shelf.
Especially you're in, like, a basement. So, like, if you didn't have anything on the shelves, it would just be bricks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was white cinder block. Yeah. So I would love to. There's not like I could obviously like spread the webcam out and stuff like that in certain times, but I would love to find some posters that I really like of games. Like I think like a Far Cry poster would be really cool. Even like going back to there's some awesome artwork that some people are doing, whether it's like Zelda art or Mario stuff, or it's just anything. Like the stuff that people are making nowadays that you can get like from Etsy and stuff like that is so cool. Like so cool.
I have so much stuff. Dave can see like the full camera view that people on Twitch can't see. There's way more that's just in my closet right now, just because I just didn't have enough space in the current apartment. But yeah, like I have directly behind me, I have like some artwork that's like wrestling related. I have a skateboard that my friend made that has PlayStation 1 characters on it with the PlayStation 1. I'm actually going to talk to him about making a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3 board for me, because I think it'd be really cool to grab like iconic characters from each system and put them all on a board. I love Marvel vs. Capcom, so I have like 2 Marvel vs. Capcom pieces. I have a really cool... it's like a shadow box with like pixel art that's like layered of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I also have a Stardew Valley one. I have a ton of stuff. It's kind of hard to list everything, especially I go to conventions, you go down to Artist Alley, whatever video game or kink you're into, they will have some artwork for you. So like I should probably, next time I go to C2E2 in December, I should probably just like take every picture of Destiny related stuff I see and just send it to Dave.
Don't do that, because then I'm gonna end up spending like $100. Yeah, like Ben Palmer already has like a 12 or 15 shirts that he was getting from Loot Crate, and they're the size that I want, and he won't tell me like how much he'll send them to me and sell them to me for. He just keeps going, oh, maybe I'll just package them up and sell them. I'm like, just put these 10 or 12 together and tell me how much it's going to cost. And he won't do it. And he was supposed to do it like a year and a half ago, and he hasn't done it.
Like I
would take all of my gaming shirts too, by the way. Like over time they start to wear out. I wish I was in a better relationship with my mother, because she could do it. But I would love to take my gaming shirts and like cut the squares out and make like almost like a gigantic blanket out of them.
I actually saw a cool idea
like
with some shirts really where they basically hang them up on the wall. They like stretch them onto like squares and then turn them into wall art. Seen that before, and it's good for like soundproofing. But like I'm not joking when I say there's like dozens and dozens of pieces of art and posters that are just in the closet that Sarah's collected, that I've collected, that when we get a bigger place, it's going to be ridiculous. Like you're not going to know adults like live in that house, because it's going to be so much like anime art, video game art.
It's around the corner. Like my office in my basement is like in my basement, so very, very few people have been in my basement that come to my house. And then you have to like turn a corner and go into this other like 6-foot door that I almost have to duck in to enter this room. And then I think if somebody came in here and saw like all this stuff and then all my computer monitors, they'd be like, what the All right, last question. Josh Nichols, I mean, he's really enjoying Knockout City. What do you think so far? I'm also doing the 10-day for free to be standard. Let me start again. I'm really enjoying Knockout City. What do you think so far? Which Michael pretty much already went over. I also think that doing 10 days for free should be a standard for any multiplayer game that isn't Call of Duty to help break through the crowd.
I agree. Like, I think if you're a smaller...
Yeah, I think a lot of companies are doing betas now anyways. They do like these weekend betas and stuff. But yeah, I think that it's out, it's launched, your buddies are playing it, and then you can be like, hey, I want to check it out. Like, okay, this isn't for me. Like, great. Or, hey, I'm really enjoying this. And then they can just buy it. I think you would see you'd see games potentially save studios for doing that, by doing so.
Yeah, I think the idea of like multiplayer games, especially from smaller studios. I know this is technically from EA, but the idea to like build a fan base by doing a 10-day free trial is really smart. And then also at the end of that 10-day free trial, give people like a 10-20% discount on like the final product to like encourage people to buy it.
It's almost identical to what Game Pass does with their stuff. Like, hey, it's leaving Game Pass, but you get it for cheaper. I didn't even realize like something stupid like this. I get a discount on microtransactions on Game Pass.
Oh yeah, and like with EA Play,
I didn't know that.
You can get because a lot of Game Pass stuff doesn't come with the DLC, so that's how they get money and they get a discount on the DLC.
Yeah. But I was just like, I didn't know that. Like I was like, I went to the store to check something. I'm like, huh? Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I think with Knockout City, I think you get a discount for being an EA Play member by default on Xbox Game Pass.
Correct.
So there's like a discount.
Yeah, but it's not going anywhere. like the EA relationship is probably not going anywhere. The game's not going anywhere. But hey, you're having fun. You get it through Game Pass. Throw a couple bucks to the developer. Make them know that their hard work's appreciated.
But I agree. Like 10-day free trials would help so many smaller multiplayer games to survive a little bit longer. Because especially when there's not a beta, like we saw a lot of multiplayer games that had potential that just like died because people just didn't know, and you have to do it when the game's new.
Like a game like Disintegration probably would have benefited from that, just to see if just to check it out. And it sucks that the multiplayer aspect of it failed.
But like
there's plenty.
It's one of those things where
games,
betas they can't rely on betas too often because people kind of go into a beta knowing like, oh, this is going to be kind of broken potentially. So I feel like they would have to make sure they do it during like, hey, this game is complete. This game's available now.
Even if you did something on launch day, play for free today. And then, obviously, whether I like it or don't like it, slam you with the ability to buy it.
Yeah, to just, load the game up and be like, you can buy this if you like it. And then you finish a round like, did you like that? You should buy it. Just go crazy. Get super annoying with that.
All right. I think that is it for the show. So again, you can follow the social networks. Our main account on Twitter is at Digital Days Pod. Michael's account is at the first MJC 1ST. Mine is at Good Dave Hunt. Links to the Facebook group, Discord server, Patreon is in the show notes. Patreon.com/DigitalDaysGaming. $1 tip jar, $3 Discord private channel access, $5 24-hour early access, $7 bonus content episode. We still haven't recorded.
We have to do that. I think we should do an E3 predictions episode in like the next 2 days or something like that.
Okay, we'll see. He'll bug me later. But with that in mind, that is our show. A little bit of a shorter show. Lighter news week. I expect this week, next week to be, kind of light as we ramp up into E3, as companies are now even holding stuff closer to the chest. And getting ready, but obviously if something cool really happens, we'll definitely cover it. And that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, we'll just see what happens. It's either going to be really quiet next week or a shit ton stuff is going to leak, and then we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we'll call it Leaky episode. All right. I hope everyone has a great week. Keep moving forward.
See ya.